let's get into World Series preview. We're going to talk about these things as we go. We're going to weave in some context and not just going to number dump on you. But basically, we want to remind you of some of the things that brought the teams to where they are now. And then we'll throw some tidbits in there for you as well. So the Arizona Diamondbacks, first thing you should know about them is they have been dubbed the Answerbacks. So you can feel cool if you're talking to your other baseball team or your other baseball fans. They're Arizona Answerbacks. They do just that. They answer back. Their National League regular season record was 84-78. That's tied for the worst record in playoff in this year's playoffs with the Marlins. Yeah, this year's playoffs. They finished second in the NL West. And in offensive categories during the regular season, they were 22nd overall in home runs with 166. Stolen bases, they flipped to the other side, had 166. That's number 2 overall in Major League Baseball for the regular season. Dead in the middle on earning walks. When it comes to striking out at the plate, they were 4th in Major League Baseball.
4th fewest.
Oh, so 4th fewest.
Not a team that strikes out. Not a team
good.
That strikes
I
out
was
often.
like, this does not, as I read that stat, I was like, that doesn't make sense. My eyes saw something different. Yes, they strike out the least, the fewest, the not as muchest.
Yes, there you go.
Batting average tied for 13th, middle of the road. OPS 17th, middle of the road. But then you've got your small ball category. Take us through these because these are the really good ones.
So this is what's crazy to me is that, so first off, when you go to sack flies, they had 50 of them this year. That puts them 4th most in Major League Baseball this year. I love sack flies, productive outs. Obviously, you'd rather either have a home run or have a guy on base, but if it comes down to it, sack fly, perfectly, there's nothing wrong with it. But this is the one that gets me right here. So you've got this team that was 22nd in Major League Baseball in home runs, but they're first. They had 36 sack bunts this year. They are first. This is a small ball team playing, which is interesting because they're playing in the desert. You think the ball would fly, but they play with the dome closed all the time pretty much, especially during the summer. And so the ball doesn't fly. So they can't count on it going out. They've got to find other ways to manufacture runs, and they're doing sack bunts, and they're stealing bases. That batting average of 250 is good enough for them. They're drawing some walks, but the big thing is they're not striking out. Right. Sack flies, sack bunts, things like that. They're productive at the plate. They're putting the ball in play, and it's really beneficial for them. Pitching and defense, I thought this was really interesting to go through. Their team ERA, they're 20th in Major League Baseball, 17th in home runs allowed, 16th in walks. They're not giving up a bunch of walks, but their pitchers are also not striking guys out because, like I said, the pitchers can trust the defense. 56 errors committed this season. That's first in Major League Baseball, and then they're tied for first in fielding percentage at .990. So behind the pitchers, like I said, they can trust those guys big time. They can throw strikes, let guys put it in play, and they're going to make it happen. They're going to get outs for them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love those small ball details. I love them so much. Okay, I was looking this up while you were talking. And so I apologize for a little bit of digression here, but I wanted to know where they land on payroll in the league because they have smaller market, smaller baseball, smaller style of baseball.
I want to say they're off the top of my head, they're 22nd,
21st,
21st, and
21 out of 30. They have their payroll right now is $116 million and change. It's like $116.4 million.
And their highest paid player this year got DFA'd.
Yeah. He's Mad Bum is still getting paid for nothing. It's amazing.
For sitting home watching baseball on TV.
Yeah. So did you get into pitching? Because I was looking that up and didn't.
I did. Yep, I did pitching. Let's talk about how they got here. How they got to the World Series. They swept the Brewers in the wild card round, a 2-game sweep. If that's what you want to call it. Division series pounded the Dodgers, 3-game sweep. And then in the league championship, like we talked about, they beat the Phillies 4-3. And it's crazy that these teams both played 12 games to get here in an identical path.
It's bananas. I love that. I love that they're lower seed teams. I love that they're underdogs. I love that it's the first time in forever. It's the Rangers have never even won a World Series. Like, this is their first chance to win a World Series. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's their chance to win their first. Yeah, because they were in the World Series. What was it, about a decade ago?
Yeah. I worded that poorly. You're right. It's not their first chance to win one. It's their first chance.
Their chance to win their first.
Thank you.
It's been a whole day.
It's been a whole day, everybody. Just leave me alone. Okay. Let's talk about some impact players to watch going in for the Diamondbacks. We've got some defensive guys to pay attention to, offensive stuff, and some pitching. The first thing is, I think Ketel Marte, like we talked about, is easily one of the most high impact players on the team. Here's some statistics. His batting average is 358, which in today's game is astronomical, right? And you can complain all you want about batting average, but let's back it up. His on-base percentage, 382, slugging 604, and his OPS is a team leading 986. Now, baseball family, these are just postseason numbers. These I didn't factor in any of the regular season. All of these numbers start with Milwaukee, the games in Milwaukee. Okay. He's only hit 2 home runs, but he's brought in 7 RBIs with that 358 batting average. He's stolen 2 bases, worked 2 walks, and struck out 16 times. Then there's Corbin Carroll, who's a super duh. He leads the team in his on-base percentage at 396, which is great because he also leads the team in stolen bases at 4, and he works his walks. He leads the team with 7.
That's good. I was going to say with Marte, the only concern I would say is those 16 strikeouts.
Yeah,
because you can't say that he's one of those three true outcome guys, because he is still getting on base. He's not hitting a bunch of home runs, right?
Yeah,
he's driving in runs as well. But those 16 strikeouts are kind of problematic when it comes to having guys on base.
Yeah, they are. Gabby Moreno, let's move down to Moreno. He's the catcher. His average 279, OBP 340, slugging at 512, and OPS is 352, which is fine. But somehow he's also in the 9 category. He has 9 RBIs. And he has not stolen a base because you don't want your catcher stealing bases. We've lost Brad. I don't know where he went, but he'll be right back, I'm sure. So you don't want your catchers necessarily trying to steal a base. So that's not a threat. But he does work a walk. And his problem is also the 12 strikeouts. But he has a better chance of hitting a home run as of this postseason than does Ketel Marte, which I think is pretty interesting. Sticking with Arizona really quick, I'm going to walk you through some of the pitchers that you should look out for and why, and then we'll move over to Texas and talk about the Rangers. So Zach Gallen, obviously, starting pitcher. He's their go-to guy. He's their ace. 22 and a third innings pitched through just through the postseason. He's given up 24 hits, but in his ERA is the highest on starting pitching is at a 5.24. He's got a 5.24 ERA. He also is he's given up 9 walks, which is highest on the team. He has 13 strikeouts, and with hitters in position, with his whip is 1.48. So Zach Gallen, we really like Zach, and we think he's a tremendous pitcher, but he has some holes that if you're not careful, he'll eat the. Hi, Brad. There he is.
Hi, I'm back. Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for interrupting what I couldn't say. I had another word problem.
This is the thing about Zach Gallen, is that he was really great during the regular season, but he has not been great during the postseason. But the nice thing is that Brandon Pfaadt has been great in his place.
Brandon Pfaadt over the postseason, 16 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's only given up 15 hits, so it's 10 fewer. Now you can account that for the fewer number of innings, but if you look at his ERA, this is where it really gets interesting because he has a 2.7 ERA, which is half or so of what Gallen has had for this postseason. And his
Get to the
strikeout
walks.
numbers, her
Get to the
strikeout numbers
walks,
are
Brig.
the walks. Oh yeah, he's only given up 3 walks this whole time. Thank you for that.
Walks
And
kill, man.
he has struck out 22 batters he's faced. Just by comparison, Gallen, 5.24 ERA, 9 walks, 13 Ks. Flip that around with Fott, who's a rookie, by the way. Have we mentioned that he's a rookie?
Well, he was up and down from between Phoenix and Reno a lot this year too. That at one point I think his ERA was like 7.
It was.
And he was like 1-6. But then he figured something out.
Yeah, he did. 22 strikeouts, only 3 walks. His whip is 1.08. Then you've got a bunch of stuff. I'm going to skip all the stuff with the relief pitchers, but I do want to talk about Sewald and
Please do.
Ginkel really quick because Sewald and Ginkel are the 1-2 punch at the end of the game, and they're going to shut the door on everybody. Ginkel, 9 innings pitched. Sewald, 8. Let's get into their ERAs because this is really impressive.
Donuts.
Their earned run average combined is 0 this postseason. Both of them have a 0 earned run average. They've only given up 3 walks between them. They have collectively struck out 24 batters.
It's crazy. You're playing 7-inning games at that point.
That's it. That's all. It's literally lights out. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, baseball family, really quick, we wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon. If you're not yet aware of that, a quick reminder, that is one of the best ways to support the show. If you haven't already liked and subscribed and you want to do more, if you have already liked and subscribed, what is happening to me tonight? Then you want to do more, you go to Patreon and you find out that for as little as $1 a month or as much as $500 a month, there is a bunch of stuff that we will provide for you that is extra, far and above, and super exciting. Go to patreon.com/whatever it is. Just search for Baseball Together because I don't think it works that way.
There's a link in the description.
And there's a link in the description.
Always.
Brad's going to talk about the Rangers while I catch my breath.
All right, let me tell you about the Rangers. So the Rangers finished the season 90-72. They lost the division title the last day of the season. They finished second, but it's kind of where it turns out it's worked out for them, right?
Yeah.
All the controversy with the bye and the bye round and everything like that. They took advantage, and here they are in the World Series. So let's talk about their offense. The Rangers have an absolutely dynamite offense. 4th in Major League Baseball in home runs. This is one thing they don't do, though, because they don't really have to. If you're hitting the ball with the fence, you don't have to move guys around. So they're not stealing bases. They're 27th in Major League Baseball in stolen bases. They are 3rd in walks. Very patient team at the plate. 14th in strikeouts. That's 14th fewest with strikeouts.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
263 batting average. That puts them 2nd. And then with a 790 OPS, that's 3rd in Major League Baseball. So we talked about small ball with the D-backs. The Rangers are not a small ball team, obviously. 22nd in the league in sack bunts. They don't do that. They don't have to, right? But because they have so much power on that team, they get a bunch of sack flies. They're 6th in Major League Baseball in sack flies. So if they have a runner on 2nd or 3rd, you can pretty much count on that guy. If there's 1 or 0 or 1 out, you can count on that guy getting moved over because they're going to hit a deep fly ball.
Yeah.
Pitching, the Rangers had some issues with pitching early in the season, and I was convinced this was going to be their downfall, Brig.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
And it was pretty close to being their downfall. Team ERA 4.28. That's 18th in Major League Baseball. Home runs allowed 198. That's 18th in Major League Baseball, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah. They walk a lot of guys. 491 walks. They don't strike out a lot of guys. 1,351. That's 23rd, sorry, in Major League Baseball. But they don't commit any errors either, because the D-backs were 156 and the Rangers are number 2 with 57.
That's right.
And I said the D-backs were tied at a 990 fielding percentage. They're tied with the Rangers. So we're going to get a defensive battle here.
Yeah.
Is pretty much how this is going to go. Brig, why don't you tell them about how they got here? I'm going to look up, because I forgot to look up how these two teams went head-to-head this season.
Okay, and then I'll tell you the payroll. I'll tell you the payroll. How they got here, They entered the wild card round and defeated the Rays in a 2-game sweep, Brad.
2-game sweep.
2-game sweep.
Got 2 in a row.
That's a streak in this house, okay? A 2-game streak. The division series, they continued their streak, extending it to 5. They defeated the Orioles 3-0. And then in the championship series, they defeated the Astros 4-3, which we've just gone over. They pull up their number 9 in payroll. They sit at $195.8 million total in payroll. And to me, that's just, it's interesting. It's not like the most interesting thing.
Well,
but it does show
how much of that is sitting on the IL, though?
Right. I don't know. I don't have that
right?
data. That's a great question because that is a super relevant. Like DeGrom is one of those that's a big money guy on the IL. So it would be interesting to see what they're playing with average annual value on the field during the playoffs.
But there is still a lot there because you got Seager and Simeon. You got a bunch of money tied up in your middle infield.
Wasn't it like a $600 million total over the course of
something like that
contract together or something? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So
okay,
get this, Brig. These two teams played each other 4 times this year because of balanced schedule. Everybody's playing each other.
Yeah,
the D-backs won the season series 3 games to 1. Whoa. Outscored the Rangers 26-19.
Whoa! When? What point in the season?
You would ask that, wouldn't you?
I would. Because it's relevant.
It is relevant for both these teams.
Yeah.
So first they played in May. First they split a series in Texas in May.
Okay, 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they played in the middle of August when, mind you, the D-backs, I guess they had kind of started to figure things out again.
But
they
was
played
when Texas was hurting.
Right, and the D-backs won both of those games in Arizona.
Okay. Let's talk about people to look out for if you're wanting to know who to root for on the Rangers squad. I vote for Corey Seager. His postseason numbers, get this, he leads the team in batting average at .333. His on-base percentage is a team leading .483. Slugging is .644, and then his OPS leads the team as well at 1.127, Brad.
I feel like every time I turned around, that dude was hitting a double.
Seriously. His offensive production is just insane. And he's worth all of the money and all of the whatever else they needed him. 3 home runs. So he's more of an extra base hit guy. Then 6 RBIs. There's more evidence of that there. He does not steal bases. Has not yet in the postseason.
I think that's a business decision too.
I think so too.
And also he's starting out on second base, so he doesn't need to.
Exactly. He's also worked 12 walks. 12. He's only struck out 7 times. Those, again, just postseason numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just postseason numbers. Adolis Garcia is really fun to talk about. 327 batting average, just right behind Seager. 352 OBP, slugging at 750. That leads the team this postseason. His OPS is 1.102, which is just a handful of points behind Seager. He, though, has 7 home runs and a whopping team postseason leading 20 runs batted in. 1 stolen base, which I think is a miracle, and then 20 or 0 walks. He doesn't ever go free.
He's a free swinger, man.
Yeah, he strikes out. He has 16 strikeouts.
Well, I was gonna say, of course, he's leading the team with 20 RBIs because 7 of those are him.
Yeah, exactly.
You take that away, I think he'd still be leading the team.
Well, let's just go down the list. Corey Seager, 6 RBIs this postseason. Young, 8. Carter, 5. Lowe, 6. Yeah, he still would be leading, at least of the guys that I chose to highlight. He would be leading the team this postseason. So those are just a couple of things. I think it's going to be interesting for the D-backs to attack this team in terms of strikeouts, because if you look at it this way, Seager has the fewest strikeouts on this list at 7, but Garcia, 16 Ks, Young, 15 Ks. Carter, 11 Ks. And Lowe, 20 strikeouts by himself.
So this is, I think, something that they're probably going to do is they're going to try to take Seager out of the series offensively, like what they did with Schwarber and Harper, games 6 and 7. Just don't pitch to him. Yeah, you can pitch to the dude. Don't put him on, but make him chase. Don't pitch. Don't throw him strikes.
Yep.
I think that's what they're going to do with Seager.
I think so too. That's what I would do.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I would go after these other guys and make them.
Oh yeah,
force them to challenge. You know,
I might kind of pitch around Garcia if there's somebody on, but if there's nobody on, let him hit a solo home run if that's what he does.
That's fine.
But yeah, no,
I don't think don't break, right? Bend don't
exactly
break.
Right.
Yeah. The pitching really quick for Texas is really interesting. Nate Eovaldi, 26 innings pitched this postseason already. He and Montgomery. Montgomery's had 25 innings pitched this postseason. They've each given up 21 and 28 hits, respectively. 2 home runs each. That is all. 7 earned runs for Eovaldi, 6 earned runs for Montgomery. Evaldi's ERA is 2.42. Montgomery's is 2.16. They've both allowed 4 walks, rather. Here's where the difference maker comes in. Eovaldi has 28 strikeouts this postseason, and Montgomery has 17. That's a huge difference.
So this is the thing, though, is that these two dudes are like it right now. Yep. As far as productive pitching, like they got the 4 wins they needed out of the Astros from those two guys. Right?
Just exactly. Yes.
That's kind of the problem. They might. I don't know. Well, I mean, it can work out for them, right? Because if you have those guys, both those guys pitch twice, you've got your 4 wins right there.
You could, yeah.
But the problem is Leclerc. He had a huge lead to work with in Game 7, and it was looking a little dicey.
Got shaky. Yeah.
He was having a hard time getting out of that inning despite the huge cushion. And maybe it was because of the huge cushion, right? Maybe it was one of those things where you get a little bit complacent. Allow a home run to Jose Altuve, walk a guy, then you're like, but he also gave up that 3-run home run to Altuve in what was that, Game 5?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they had Game 5 wrapped up, and he got cute. I think I talked about this before with the pinch hitter who's hitting 152, and then Game 6 he comes after him and strikes him out.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been game over if he'd done that in Game 5. Was it Singleton?
Singleton. I think it was Singleton.
Yeah, like Leclerc, I feel like has a tendency to get cute with guys he shouldn't. He just needs to go after them, and it could end up being a problem for them against the Diamondbacks. Again,
here's the thing, though, about the pitching is that Heaney and Dunning combine. If you do the kind of a bullpen day on one of those days, you throw those 2 guys back to back, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up with something very close to Montgomery.
Right. Yeah. With the 2 of those guys together. Yeah.
Yeah. If you stack them,
I think you will.
Yeah. So and then it's going to be tough.
Can we talk about Aroldis Chapman for just a minute, though?
We have to.
Like,
it's too good.
It's mind-boggling the fall that guy has taken. That you can't put him into a high leverage situation and count on him anymore. You can put him in the 8th, in the 7th or the 8th inning and be like, just hold the lead.
Just be cool, bro.
And it might happen.
Be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Be cool, man.
Yeah. Be cool. Well, the problem is his command is down.
Right.
His velocity is still
100. He hit Chas McCormick with 104 in the back of the leg.
Exactly.
I'm surprised that dude could walk.
No, seriously. He probably can't right now. But if you can't hit your spots, it doesn't matter. And wasn't it David Cohn that said some of the best things you can do is take a little off of it and make your spots? So
that's how Greg Maddux made his money.
That's exactly how he did it. So really interesting. Okay, let's get into the schedule. The World Series schedule starts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
All games are 8 p.m. Eastern. All games.
Oh, they all are
Eastern on Fox. Yep.
Fabulous. Games 1 and 2 will be in Arlington. That's Friday and Saturday, the 27th and 28th. There will be a travel day on the 29th in between where they will move to Phoenix. And at Chase Field, you'll see games 3, 4, and 5 if necessary. That'll be 30, 31, and November 1st, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then Thursday, they will travel back to Arlington, should that be necessary, for Game 6 and maybe 7. That will be Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and the 4th of November. Brad, who you got after all of that info?
Who do I got?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I got. I got my Diamondbacks, baby.
Oh!
I didn't think they would make it past the Dodgers. They shocked me. I didn't think they would make it past the Phillies. They stunned me. I'm not falling off. I'm not going to let them fool me a third time, Brig. I'm going for the Diamondbacks. If JT Realmuto couldn't stop this team from running, Jonah Heim doesn't stand a chance. And I've been talking about Jonah Heim all season. I like that dude, but he's no JT Realmuto, right? So
he's just not. That's true.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to the pitching matchups, I think the D-backs are going to win the pitching matchup. They're going to win the defensive matchup, and it's going to come down to making things happen on the base paths, and they're way better at it.
They are.
So I'm going to say D-backs in 6.
In 6. I want desperately for there to be 7 games.
I would love for there to be 7 games.
I just want there to be 7 games. But I'm with you. I think as you were talking, I was realizing this is exactly how I feel. Fool me once, strike 1.
Right.
But fool me twice, strike 3. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the answer backs on this one. I think that their defensive capabilities are going to run the show. I think that they have more in it. They have more fight somehow on those intangibles and that sort of some of that mojo. But I do think they're going to have a problem in at least one of the games in Arlington, and that's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll have a problem in both, but they could. But I think once they get back to Chase, they'll be okay. I just need them to win one game in Arlington.
Yeah, and that's, I think, all they're going to shoot for one game in Arlington. If they can get it, they've got the job done there. But even then, they lost both games in Philly, and it looked like it was over.
Right.
Like, they looked done.
Totally. So, now I'm like, I believe.
And this is the thing, is that the Rangers didn't even win a home game last series.
No, I know.
So who's to say? But no, I think the D-backs are going to be the ones, they're going to get it done. But Brig, I think it's funny though, because you are like good to go either way. Because you can say the D-backs win now, and if they win, you've got it made. But at the other hand, because you're the way you were talking them up in the preseason, if they win, you'd be like, I told you guys. Yeah, you can already be smug about it. We'll let you.
Yeah. Thank you. That is my MO anyway. Just be smug about it. So I'm glad. See, do you see this right here? I'm going to be smug about it. Okay.
You are. And we'll allow it.
Have a leg to stand on this time.
So Brig, who's your MVP in the series? If the D-backs win it, who's your MVP?
Adley Rutschman. Yeah, that's easy. No. Just phoning it in, okay? If the D-backs win, I'm going to give it to oh wow. My brain just threw me a hot take. Because the automatic answer is Corbin Carroll. But I think you could pin it on Gabby Moreno, Ketel Marte, or my actual pick is going to be Brandon Pfaadt.
Oh, you think he's going to be the dude?
Okay. Yeah, that's my hot take.
So I'm going to give it to Corbin Carroll.
Okay.
I think he's going to be the guy. He's heating up.
Oh, man.
He had kind of a rough go games 1 through 6, but he came into game 7 ready to go in the NLCS, and I think he's going to come into the World Series ready to go, and he's going to be absolutely on fire. I think he's going to get a couple home runs. He's going to knock some singles, steal some bases, make some things happen in the outfield. Yeah. I think it's going to be Corbin Carroll.
You know who I want it to be, though, like deep down?
Who's that?
I so bad want it to be Evan Longoria.
That'd be amazing. You know who I so badly want it to be?
Who?
Paul Sewald.
Oh, yeah, of course you would. Yeah.
I would love it if Paul Sewald got it.
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm cheering for the D-backs. I want Sewald to get a ring.
Makes sense.
So who?
Okay, so if it's the Rangers, who's your MVP?
If it's the Rangers, I'm going to go Corey Seager. It's going to have to be him. He's the one who got him into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing to me how many former Yankees are on the Rangers squad. Like it's astonishing.
How many
I
are
mean,
there?
Nate Eovaldi,
Right.
Jordan Montgomery, Aroldis Chapman. I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm thinking just off the top of my head. I've got a list here somewhere. Andrew
There-
Heaney. He's
Oh, that's
also
right. He was
anyway.
terrible in New York too.
Yeah, real
He
bad.
was
But
real bad. Yeah. So Brig, I'm curious, who forgets to show up? Because a few years
yeah,
ago, it was Manny Machado was the only Dodger who remembered to show up,
he was. Yeah,
right?
that's a
And I think it was
really good point.
2018. So who's the guy who forgets to show up and ends up being a problem?
That's a fun question. I'm gonna say Evan Carter.
Evan Carter forgets.
He's gonna forget to show up, and the other guy that's gonna forget to show up is I don't know. It's
So
gonna be
this is
Evan
what I
Carter.
have. I have Marcus Simeon forgetting to show up for the Rangers, and that's going to be a real
Really?
problem. Yeah,
If he
yeah.
did, it would be.
I think he
That'd be
forgot that
huge.
there was a season in August. To be honest with you, like because he
He
had
took a siesta. Now he's
he
back.
took a
It's okay.
siesta. Yeah, yeah. I think he's going to forget to show up. And then for the D-backs have a problem with anybody. I'm going to say it's going to be Christian Walker offensively. He'll be fine
Dude, if he,
defensively because
yeah,
he's on autopilot defensively. He's so good, right?
he is
But
so. That is
offensively, I feel
fact.
like if he doesn't show up offensively, there could be a little bit of a problem. But there are enough guys in that lineup who have been making an impact that it will still be fine. Because this was the thing. This was one thing that I was noticing towards the end of the NLCS is that, and Paul Sewald said the quiet thing out loud, right? He
Mhm.
said, "You worry about Schwarber, you worry about Harper, but you keep going down that lineup. Bohm and Stott are automatic outs." And granted, they showed up to Game 7 because he said that, but they were the only
That's
guys
right.
who showed up to Game 7
It's true.
after that, right?
Yeah.
But the D-backs lineup ended up being way deeper
Yeah.
as that series got deep.
It's true.
And so this D-backs lineup is a problem top to bottom.
Yeah.
If you have a guy like Christian Walker doesn't show up, he hits like towards the heart of the order. You can kind of hide that a little bit, right? But Marcus Simeon, where he's hitting at the top of the order, that could be a problem for them.
Yeah, you can't hide that. Yeah, you're right. That's a
So,
great question. That's a
anywho,
really
I
great.
think there's always somebody
Baseball family.
who forgets to show up, right? It's like, oh, the World Series, that's today.
Yeah. Oh no. Taylor Duke is in the house, by the way. He's watching. He says he's
Yeah,
sorry he's late, but he's very excited about the D-backs.
he's
And
got the
Taylor,
D-backs in 5.
he's got him in 5. That's a pretty hot take, actually, but I like it. 22 years for this. Taylor, are you going to find a way to make it to the World Series, or are you going to watch it from home? Neither are problematic answers, by the way, but it has been a long time coming, and you have been sticking with them. You and Brock have been sticking with them the whole time, and you
Pretty
guys
lean
have
year.
yeah, it's been lean. They lost 110 games 2 years ago.
I know. Yeah.
I don't
And
like
last year they lost like what 45 in a row at one point, something like that.
yeah, the turnaround though from 2021 to 2023 is
The
historic.
turnaround from 2022 to 2023 has been insane.
It's true.
Like we thought this was going to be a 500 team this year because of who they were last year, and we're like, oh, they're better this year,
Yeah.
right? But they cut the dead weight partway through the season. They trimmed some fat, and they said, these are our holes. This is what we need to deal with.
Yeah.
They fixed the problem. They brought in Seawald, and they said, you know what? We can afford to get rid of Josh Rojas. We can afford to get rid of Dom Canzone. So they did, and
That's true.
it's worked out for them.
Dude, was I the only one worried when Canzone left? I was like, what?
I was too busy celebrating the Mariners got it to be worried about what was going on down the street. Because I had just seen him in person, so I was like,
yeah.
His
first, like, he's played for the D-backs for like 3 hours, right? And everybody was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then they moved him, and we were like, why? What are you doing?
Why? Yeah, they're deep.
And now
they got a deep
they're at the
outfield.
World Series. Yeah, it's amazing.
And you know what? A guy who we haven't talked about is Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
That hair, though.
Oh, there's a reason they call him La Pena. He he quietly had a good series, right? Like made a difference on defense, which is not something we expect out of him. We expect the bat. He had a pretty good series out in left field. Saved a couple runs, and then when he needed to, he got hits.
Yeah, he did. He
So
really
he
did.
could very well be another X factor in this series. Just quiet offensively, getting his job done.
Yeah. You know, I think is cool about Gurriel Jr. is that he's 30, right? Which puts him up on the older side of things in the game.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he has settled down, his maturity levels come through, everything is working, and he's in his favor right now.
Mhm.
I think it's awesome. I love
I
it
think
so
it is too.
much.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love it. I think he's embraced the role, and it's so funny too that when he was when they traded for Dalton Varsho, I don't care who you send. I'm just pumped to have Varsho, and then they send him, and I bet he was like, first off, a little bit embarrassed, but also probably a little bit disappointed, thinking that man, this is the piece that we need in
Yeah.
Toronto to get over the top. And as it turns out, Toronto was kind of a mess for a lot of the year,
Totally.
and really flamed out there at the end. And then now here he is in the World Series. Good for him.
I totally agree.